Hi guys, it's Christina from Redefine Creative, and this week for Spiegel Mom Scraps, we are scraplifting our guest designer, Rachel Lowe, and I absolutely love her style, as well as this layout that you just saw, which is the one I'm going to scraplift today. And I really wanted to use this paper that was a leftover from my Click Kit for this month. And so I pulled a few things from my stash because I knew that I wanted to add kind of black and white elements and then some little pops or some little touches of red. And so I'm going to start out where I'm going to cut this little piece of this black and white diagonal stripe because in her sketch she had a little strip of pattern paper along the bottom edge. And so I'm going to mimic that same thing. And that paper is from the new Amy Tangerine Heart and Hustle, and it's one of my absolute favorite papers because it's just a perfect diagonal black and white stripe. And so I have several pieces of it in my stash that I use kind of as I need them. And so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and mimic this tag idea that Rachel had in her layout where she has a photo in the middle and then a tag on the left and a tag on the right. And I wanted to create my own tags out of this pattern paper. So I'm using this new Illustrated Faith paper, and this is from Gratitude Documented. And the black and white leaf one is, let me see if there's a name. It's number 1775, but it's the 3x4 cut apart sheet. And this is the back side of it. And it did come in the Click Kit this month. And then I'm also grabbing the coordinating kind of greenish turquoise color. And that pattern paper just has a texture to it. And then I'm going to grab this piece of cardstock that's just a deep red color because I know that I want there to be those little pops of red. And this paper is pomegranate, and it's from Basil, and it does have a texture to it. And so I'm using that with my circle punch first to create the little tops of my tags. And then I'm also going to back my photo with that same pomegranate color with just a very thin border. And that's going to be enough against this black and white page to really make that photo stand out. So when I went to do this scrap lift, kind of my thought process is I was really drawn to the design of her layout, where she had these kind of 3 boxes, 2 of them were tags, and so that's where I started. I'm not necessarily going to follow exactly her design. I'm not going to use the same products. I have them in my stash, and I could if I wanted to do an exact scrap lift. But instead, I'm just going to kind of use that as the basis for my layout, and then I'm going to go from there. And so I'm trimming just a little bit off because I want these tags to be a little more rectangular than square. And I know that I want to put them on some foam adhesive so that they stand up off the page, because what I'm planning on doing is scattering some sequins behind those 3 elements to kind of create some interest on that top part of the page. I am just layering up some scraps down there on the bottom. And then I went ahead and took my black cardstock and used my Big Shot machine to cut out these little kind of botanical leaves. And I'm going to put one on that green tag, and then I'm going to put one on a doily over on that right bottom corner. And I'm just playing around trying to decide if I want some on the bottom, which I decided I don't. And then I'm going to grab my sequins. So I am, of course, pulling out my black tie event, which is like my go-to sequin pack because I love those black sequins. And so I'm going to start with those. And then I'm going to bring in one of the new collections. And I highly recommend this one. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous mix. It's called Woodsy Wonderland. And it has the pale green, this deep kind of pomegranate red color. And then it has the wood grain. And for this particular layout, I am not using the wood grain ones, but I absolutely will have those on another one. And this collection is going to go perfectly with my December daily. So if you're somebody who is creating a December daily, these new sequin mixes, especially the ones with wood grain, are absolutely beautiful. So I would highly recommend you add those to your December daily goodies. So all I'm going to do is kind of scatter these around, and you're going to see that I move them around so that they are going to show. So I'm not going to cover them up with my 3 elements. So right now I'm just kind of scattering them wherever, and then I am going to create a little more balance. The way that I will attach these, or the way that I always attach them, is with some Zots, and they're Zots Bling in the very teeny tiny size. And those work perfectly for me in terms of getting my sequins on my page and having them not fall off later. So that has been a fantastic find, especially for sequins. So I'm going to go ahead and put that dimensional adhesive on the back. And this is just a photo of my daughter. She was getting ready for Halloween. She dressed up like Alice from Alice in Wonderland, and we had bought a pack of like stickers and different details that would go around her eyes and then over her eyes. And so this was just a close-up of some of that part of her particular Halloween costume. So this layout itself does not have really a Halloween theme to it at all, but it works really well with the picture itself. So I'm really happy with how all of that kind of came together. So there's nothing that says that those Halloween pictures have to be on your like black, orange, and purple. You can absolutely, you know, have the freedom to scrapbook those any way that you choose. And so I'm just going to make sure that I have everything lined up here, and then I'm going to also line up the bottom. And so I apologize that it's a little bit off the screen. You will see that come back here in a minute. And then I'm going to go searching for my Tim Holtz Chit Chat, which is the phrase stickers that Tim Holtz puts out. And they are one of my favorite things to use because they just have all kinds of different quotes that really work well for kind of the themes that I include in my albums. And so I'm going to add some black baker's twine to those two tags after I had everything kind of glued down off camera. I am going to do the black and white on both of those tags, and that shows up really nice with that red, kind of that little red circle that I included for the tops of my luggage tags. And then I'm going to look for the quotes that I want to include, and I'm going to end up with one on that tag that has that black kind of botanical, and I'm going to cut it into little pieces so that I can kind of fit it down in that space on that bottom right corner. And it just says it's always the small pieces that make the big picture. And I thought that was really appropriate for this photo because it is a photo not of her costume, but just of the details that we put on her face to kind of go along with that costume. And then I'm also going to put a couple down on that border element that I have on the bottom. And I'm going to do two different ones. One says, "Those who don't believe in magic will never find it." And then the one underneath that is just going to say, "Let life surprise you." And so those are going to be the two that I kind of carry down to that element on the bottom. And I do decide that I need some sequins kind of scattered in that little cluster down there at the bottom to kind of tie everything together. So it is still creating that visual triangle around my photo. But this is just kind of like a little secondary detail. It just does give some weight to the bottom of the page, so it feels a little bit more balanced to me, which is kind of why I added that little detail in there at the bottom. And that is basically going to do it for this layout. So there were a ton of new releases for Spiegel Mom Scraps this month. So I definitely would recommend stopping by the store and checking out all of the new products that Jody has. The wood grain sequins are amazing, and there's some wood grains in some bright colors that are also really, really fun. So those are going to be amazing for some spring layouts coming up here in the next couple of months. And I think that's the last little detail you're going to see me add. I am going to move around a few of these sequins because I want them to kind of be tucked underneath the photo and that kind of thing. And then I do grab a couple more black ones because I feel like I kind of need those added in over and around my photo in the middle to make sure that I am putting the emphasis where I want it to be. And let's see, I think, yep, that's going to be it. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I would love it if you would like and subscribe. Make sure that you check out the link to the shop down below, as well as a coupon code that you can use to get a discount on some of these amazing new sequins. And I will be back to see you again very soon. Have a great day. Bye.